right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. Today we are. Let me get this out of here real quick. Let's move me here and grow me a little bit more. All right. Today we are building a deck in Magic: The Gathering. Building a commander deck. Um, I'm going to work on it together with you guys. Um, I was working on a black and green commander deck. Um, Now there is a commander that I was planning on building. It's black, green, red. That has the same kind of theme. So I don't know. We'll get to that as we go through this. Ugh. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Chrono the Shadow Fox. I play a lot of RPGs, JRPGs, and adventure games. Um, I do a lot with Magic the Gathering as well, so eventually, once I get to the point where I'm able to start playing Magic online, I'll start doing that with the viewers as well, and play Commander with you guys. Um, because I have a uh game on Steam that we can do called Tabletop Simulator. Um, so I can play maybe one or two games with you. Hey Senna, how are you today? Actually remembered this time so I can give people shout outs. Um, but yeah, we can do that. Um, Also, if you're interested, I've got my link tree in both chats, so you can check excuse me, check that for all of my platforms. So if you're interested in checking out my Instagram, my X, my TikTok, my Twitch, all of that there, you can. I've also got my link to my merch right there. So if you'd like to buy a hoodie or a shirt or something like that, there it's in my link tree under Fourth Wall. If you would like to donate, that is totally up to you. I've got a Ko-Fi account, so that goes to buying things like um, games for the channel. So if you want me to play a specific game um, that is RPG or JRPG related that I don't have, that's totally up to you. You have the ability to do that. You just put in the comments when you donate what it's for. Um, it goes to buying art for the channel, paying for a new model, paying for new streaming equipment, things like that. That goes there. I also have a link to my Discord. In my Discord, there's an area where you can order, place an order for 3D printed objects, like anything you can think of that I can 3D print, like kitchen items, desk items, your your VTube model I can 3D print for you. Um, just post a picture of what you'd like to 3D print in the Shadow Forge area, and when I get to your name, I'll send you an email letting you know I'm on yours, and we'll work together to make the best model for you. And then we'll work on the prices for you. If you are subscribed to my channel, you get a 10% discount if you're a tier 1 subscriber. If you're a tier 2 subscriber, you get a 15% discount. And if you're a tier 3 subscriber, you get a 20% discount. Anyone who's a VTube model or has their own VTube model, um, I'm willing to work with you with your VTube model. The problem with VTube models are it depends on where the supports are. I'm having trouble putting or printing your models, and it depends on how small you want your model. I'm having trouble trying to get the supports out of those or out of certain areas because it's breaking the model. So I can make larger models for you. Smaller models are very hard to work with because the supports are not working with me right now. So I can make it like 5 or 7 inch models. Um, Maybe 6 inch models would probably be the perfect ideal height. But I'll work with you and try to get your model the perfect size that you'd like, and then we'll have to paint the model and then get it the right colors that you want it. Um, Doing well. How are you? I'm doing good. Just might be coming down with something a little bit. I'm starting to get an itchy throat, but I'm doing okay. Um, Also for my long form content, like my streams. Oh, okay. Back from ads. I'm doing well, and I'm starting to get a little bit of a tickle in my throat, so I might be coming down with something. But today we're working on building a commander deck, so you'll be getting hands-on experience on how to build a commander deck in Magic. Um, let's see. For my long form content for like all of my streams that I record here go straight to YouTube. So anytime that way if or whenever Twitch deletes my VODs, they go or they'll be on YouTube, so anyone can watch them there. Um let's see. That should be it on the. No, everyone's getting. Yeah, everyone. I think I'm getting it from my wife. She was getting sick herself earlier. So go ahead and put me right there, and let's see about that. Go. I've got that open. Okay, so now that we've got this up, we've got a new deck idea open. So um, what we can do now is work on the deck that um I was planning on probably gonna or probably building, um, which is uh Reaper King No More. So the name of the deck will be um King No More. Oop, spelled it wrong. No More. Commander or the format will be Commander. Uh, Commander bracket. I'll do any because I don't really know how strong this deck's going to be right now. So we'll go ahead and what is game type? Hold on. Any? Okay. Command zone will search for Reaper, King No More. Oh, it's the Reaper. And we'll go ahead and create deck. Now, what the Reaper says is, we'll click on him. If I can. When the Reaper enters, put a -1/-1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. When a creature an opponent controls with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, you may put a card onto the battlefield under your control. Do this only once each turn. So whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, so we're going to be working on putting a -1/-1 counters on a creature an opponent controls. And then when we do that, we're working on trying to put their cards in their graveyards. Now, this right here in the corner, that's their cost. For those of you who are new to Magic, I'll give you a crash course on what the card, what is all on the card right here. You got the name. Obviously, you got the picture right here. This right here is the cost of how much it will be to play the card. So you can either pay two generic mana, which means 2 lands of any type, or a black mana, 2 lands of any type, or a red mana, or 2 lands of any type, or a green mana. So lands are, you will go close. Lands are things like forest. We'll click on, and this is a land right here. When it says basic land or anything that says land, that's what you use to pay mana to cast spells, cast creatures, cast things like that you want to use to play any of your stuff in your hand. So you have a few of those every turn. If you have one of these in your hand, you play that every turn. All right, so we need to have at least about 34 to 36 of these in our deck. So we'll need a forest, mountain, and swamp. And we're going to need at least 34 to 36 of any combination of these or other non-basic land type cards. We'll find other lands that we can use as well, that I can think of off the top of my head in a little bit. But then, now that you know what to use to cast these creatures, this is your commander. This right here is separate from your deck. He will be on another side of your board. This right here is your attack. So whenever you attack with him, it deal 3 damage to something, to your opponent's creature or to your opponent's life total. The number right here is its defense. So if someone attacks me with a 3/3 or a 4/3, that 4 will deal 4 damage to my 3 defense right here, which means this will go back to the command zone. Or if it's just a regular creature and I've got this on board, this will go straight to my graveyard. And my graveyard is where all of my spells and creatures go when they're not in my hand or on the field or in the exile zone. Um, and all of this right here, this tells you what the card does. So let's see. Now what we can do is, hmm, with Architect, I'm not sure if there's a way to see what other common cards go with the deck. So let me see. Let's go. Hmm. Card info. No, that just tells you what the card does. What and all that. You got the rulings. They don't have any rulings for that at all. Existing collection. That's basically my collection of cards. Um. No. Okay. So. All right. So we'll go back. Now, what we can do is uh we'll search for something else that can go in the deck that goes well with -1/-1 counters. Um, Now, if you're like me and you know a lot of stuff that goes in almost every deck, which you will for those of you who are new to playing Magic, you'll start to realize what cards actually need to go in every deck, or every type of deck. Like this right here, Soul Ring, always goes in every deck. So we'll search for a Soul Ring and add that. Soul Ring is a one generic mana, so we'll tap one of these lands right here to play this. And when you tap this, you can add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. That colorless mana can be or you can use that colorless mana to cast anything with generic mana. So anything that says 2, 3, anything that is a colorless cost. So where it says 2 right here, you can use that colorless mana to pay for that right there. Um, Arcane Signet is another one we can add. So Arcane Signet is a 2-drop spell. We pay 2 mana to tap and add 1 mana of any color that's in our commander's color identity. That would mean that we can tap to add a black, a red, or a green mana to our mana pool to cast anything in our hand that we need to cast. That will be instead of doing a colorless mana, we can get any color that is in there. Oh, hey, Senna. We're just explaining the cards, letting everyone know what these cards do, stuff like that. Where and explaining what the mana symbols are and how to play the game. Pretty much just giving a short rundown of um, what this all means right here. Um, let's see the lands right here. What's going to be needed? Like I said, we're probably going to need like maybe 34 to 36 lands in here. This deck will probably need a devoted druid because that's a good starting point for a land source. So we'll go ahead and get devoted druid, which is a creature. Um, I want to group this by type. So we'll group this with Devoted Druid. You tap it to add a green mana to your mana pool, and then put a -1/-1 counter on this creature to untap this creature. So when you tap it to add a green mana, you can untap it by putting a -1/-1 counter on her, and then she becomes a 0/0/1. Now, what we can do is pretty much give her infinite tap steps um, by doing one thing. Let me. I'm trying to remember the card that we have. Oh, what was the name of the card? Um, was it Flourishing Defenses? Whenever a -1/-1 encounter is put on a creature, you may create an Elf Warrior creature token. That actually works with um, um, high. Was it high perfect Morcant? So this right here will go infinite with this creature right here. So whenever High Perfect Morcant or another elf you control enters, each opponent blights one. So blighting one means that they each put a -1/-1 counter on a creature they control. So that right there, whenever you put a -1/-1 counter on a creature, you create an elf. So then when an elf comes into play, each opponent blights another one. Then you put another -1/-1 counter on a creature your opponent controls. Then you create another elf. And you do that until every creature on your opponent's board dies. The great thing about that is that works well with your commander. So whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you can put that on your side of the field. Now, you can choose to wait until your opponent the best creature your opponent has that goes to the graveyard, so you can put that creature onto your side of the field. So because it says you may put that card onto the battlefield under your control. So if your opponent has like 4/1/1s and a 10/10 creature on board, you can wait until that 10/10 creature goes to the graveyard and then put that 10/10 on your side of the field by making all of them go to the graveyard and then gain control of that 10/10 creature. Then, with all of those elves that you just made, you can tap 3 of them and proliferate, which means that you can choose any number of permanents and or players. Then each of the give each another counter of each kind already there. So if they have another -1/-1 counter on them, you can put another one on each creature and each player by proliferating. Now, we're not going to lean heavily on the proliferation because we don't really need to in this deck. Um, Now, let me get up real quick. I've got a card that I need to add because of Devoted Druid. This right here will work really well with another card that I have. I've got a 3 card combo with this card. So let me grab my binder real quick, and I'll find that card, and we can add that to the deck. No. All right. So the card in question is called Quill Spike. So there's another infinite combo that I usually do with Devoted Druid, where I tap Devoted Druid to add a green mana. Then I'll put a -1/-1 counter on her to make her a 0/1 creature. With Quill Spike, I can use that 1 green mana to remove a -1/-1 counter from Devoted Druid and give this creature +3/+3 until end of turn. So I can infinitely do this and make this guy so strong I can attack someone who's open if I really wanted to and knock them out of the game. Now, if I really wanted to be mean, Rite of Consumption, as an additional cost to play it, sacrifice a creature. Rite of Consumption deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target player. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. So when you knock out the first player, you can sacrifice Quill Spike if you have, if you want to, get rid of the second player by sacrificing it and making them lose that much life. So there's 2 win cons right there. You've got infinite elves that you can swing out with to an attack. Not necessarily infinite. You've got a finite amount of elves, but you can wipe out their boards by making as much elves as you can, and keep putting -1/-1 counters on your opponent's creatures, and completely clear off their board so you can attack um, their life points directly. And you can just swing out with Quill Spike and then sacrifice it to make someone else lose their life total. So there's 2 win cons right there. One is brute force, and then one is brute force / life loss. And then if you have 3 players that you're playing, now this is kind of board setup right here. You don't have to put this in here, but I like to do this just to um be funny. Aetherflux Reservoir. So all of that life that you just gained with Rite of Consumption, you can pay 50 life into it, and if there's one other player that you've got, you can just pay that 50 life and make them lose the game. So that right there is another win con. Or you can do, if you're only playing against 2 people, you've got a win con there. Aetherflux Reservoir also works with a Sensei's Divining Top. Because the Aetherflux Reservoir states that when you cast a spell, you gain a life for each spell you've cast this turn. So with Sensei's Divining Top, you'll pay 1 and then play it. So you'll gain a life. And then cast, you can look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them in order, back in order however you want. Then you can tap this and draw a card and then put Sensei's Divining Top on top. With Bolus's Citadel, you can cast Sensei's Divining Top from your library. So then you'll have an infinite way of casting and gaining that much life by playing Sensei's Divining Top. So you're doing infinite stuff in this deck constantly. Then you can sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. So all those elves that you did, that you put up here, you can sacrifice 10 of them, and each opponent loses 10 life. Your opponent starts out with 40 life at the beginning of the game. So if you have like 10 elves that you can sacrifice, then you can sacrifice 10 of them, and then your opponents are already down 10 life from what they were before. Now, if you really want to be funny, wound reflection, and you can make that 10 into 20 life that they just lost. So at the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. So you sacrifice 10 elves, make them lose 10 life, and at the end of your turn, they lose another 10 life. But wait, there's more. There's another way. I think, what was it? Painful Quandary. Make them hurt by making them play whenever they play lands. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, they lose 5 life unless they discard a card. Now, this is a maybe. We're not going to necessarily keep this card but we're going to keep this just in case for now, just because we want to be funny. But we do need to work on maybe stuff that like creatures. So we need creatures that put -1/-1 counters on stuff. So we got Yawgmoth, Grand Physician, pay 1 life, sack a creature, which you can make a creature put a -1/-1 counter on a creature target on up to 1 target creature and draw a card. You can discard a card and proliferate. We don't really want to worry about the proliferation that much. I mean, we can, but we don't really care about it as much. Let's see. Another good one to put in here is what was the name of it? I can't think of the name of it. Hmm. Let's see. Now, if you're starting out and you need help building a deck, you can go to EDH Rec. And you can look up certain cards in the deck. Like, you'll go to the search bar and look up what commander you want to do. Look up Reaper King No More, and it'll pop up and it'll tell you what you can do with, and it'll suggest what cards to put in the deck. So we'll have things like high synergy. This stuff is what most people put in the deck. Blowfly Infestation. So we can add Blowfly Infestation. Which Blowfly Infestation states that whenever a creature dies, if it had a -1/-1 counter on it, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. So basically, if you kill another one of your opponent's creatures and they had a -1/-1 counter on it because you had flourishing defenses and high perfect Morcant out, you can put another -1/-1 counter on something and double up on the -1/-1 counters and double up on the elves that you're putting out. So then you could put the Scorpion God out. Whenever a creature with a -1/-1 counter dies, draw a card. So that helps you with your draw engine. So anytime you need to draw a card, put a -1/-1 counter on something. Then you could put a -1/-1 counter on something, and then when this dies, return it to your hand, and at the beginning of the next end step. So we can put this in there, and this actually is a good creature for your deck. So the Scorpion God. Then Necroskitter is another good one. Whenever a creature an opponent controls with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, you may return that card to the battlefield under your control. So that doubles up on um, Reaper's ability. Whenever a creature dies, you may put that creature onto the battlefield under your control. You can only do it once per turn, though. Necroskitter, you can do it multiple times. So we'll add Necroskitter. Now, the great thing about the Architect, it tells you how many artifacts, creatures, enchantments, lands, and stuff like that you have in here already. You want to make sure that you're only at 100 cards, because less than that and more than that, it's not really a legal deck. All right, Hapatra. Whenever Hapatra deals damage to a player, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake with Death Touch. So you're making more tokens that you can sacrifice for later. So Hapatra can go in here as well. Black Sun Zenith is a really good board wipe spell for you. So put X -1/-1 counters on each creature you control. You can pay X and 2 black to, so you can pay 10 and 2 black. Then you'll put 10 -1/-1 counters on something. So that'll wipe the board most of the time, especially with those people that have indestructible creatures. That gets around indestructible. So that works well right there. And Massacre Girl gives all your creatures Wither, which means that whenever they deal combat damage to a creature, instead of dealing damage, like, for instance, this 6/5 attacking this 1/4, instead of that 6 dealing 4 damage to it, it'll put -1/-1 counter, 6 -1/-1 counters on it. So that'll add to the ability for Necroskitter and a few other characters, or a few other cards. And that works well with your creatures right there too. Everlasting Torment. Players can't gain life. Damage can't be prevented, and all damage is dealt as though the source had Wither. That doubles up on Massacre Girl. That also helps against people like green players and white players who are life gainers. So you can't prevent anything, or no one can prevent damage that's dealt to them. Let's see. This one right here. Creatures your opponents control with counters on them can't attack or block. So if you put a -1/-1 counter on a creature that they have that they control, they can't block your creatures now. So now all their creatures are pretty much useless, minus the ones that have abilities. Which most of the time people have abilities on their creatures. So Kolrath Knight. This one I'm not going to worry about much for now. We'll circle back to this one. Uh, and same with the evolution sage. It's a really good card. Don't get me wrong. I really like this because if you have enough lands in your deck, you probably most likely won't miss a land drop that much. So that's a good card, but for now, we're not going to do that right now. Top cards. These right here. This is the one I was thinking of. Maha. So anytime you put -1/-1 counters on a creature, you're you're making your opponent's creatures have only base toughness 1. So all you need to do is just make your opponents get one -1/-1 counter on them, and they die. That basically means that they're done. They don't really they can't do anything anymore, so they're gone. Um, this helps you with your mana, so you can tap to add one of any of those colors. So we'll add Ignoble Hierarch. The Exalted, that anytime you have a creature that's attacking by itself, it'll get a +1/+1 on it until end of turn. Assassin's Trophy, destroy target permanent, and opponent controls its controller may search their library for a basic land and put it on the battlefield. Yeah, you're giving your opponent a land drop, but it also destroys a permanent that if you can't, you want to destroy something that they have that you really need to destroy, you can destroy it. So we'll go ahead and get Assassin's Trophy. All right. Soul Snuffer, when this creature enters, put a 1/1 counter and -1/-1 counter on each creature. I don't like one-off cards. Um, so we'll kind of circle back to this one. We'll see if we could do more than just this. This right here costs way too much. It costs 6 mana for its ability. This creature enters with 2 -1/-1 counters on it. Uh, pay a black mana, remove a -1/-1 counter from this creature, and put a -1/-1 counter on each other creature. You can only do this twice. Yes, you can put more -1/-1 counters on him. But he costs way too much. He is a 6-drop flyer, but he enters as a 4/4 for 6. And if you're going to make him as a -1/-1 engine, I wouldn't really put him in your deck. So you got to start kind of paying attention to what this does and how much you're willing to spend on a card. Like, I get why they're doing it, but he costs way too much for the value he does. Now, Nest of Scarabs, whenever you put a one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, put that many 1/1 black insect tokens in play, that's more sacrifice outlets. So we will do that. Nest of Scarabs is good. That is a good card to add right there. Midnight Banshee, that's 6 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on each non-black creature. For 6 mana for a 5/5, how many non-black creatures do we have in this deck? We have one, which that would kill it, but by the time we have the mana to play Midnight Banshee, we wouldn't really need Ignoble Hierarch as much. And Devoted Druid, once you're playing Devoted Druid, you're either needing the mana or you're already able to do the combo with Devoted Druid and Will Spike. So that one right there is a value engine. It does put in a -1/-1 counter on a creature, so every turn. So we'll go ahead and add Midnight Banshee. Terminate is a good card because that destroys a creature and it can't be regenerated. Another good one that I like to add that in there is Dreadbore. Dreadbore is another sorcery version of that. That destroys target creature or planeswalker. Speaking of planeswalker, we'll go with Vraska, Betrayal's Sting. This Vraska, you can draw a card and lose a life and proliferate. That gives you draw. What I'm really good I like about this one is if target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, by the way, if you have 10 poison counters, you lose the game. They get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. So if they don't have any poison counters on them, they'll get 9 poison counters. So then all you have to do is add 1 and proliferate, or proliferate. And at that point, proliferation is actually a pretty good idea. I don't really like to play poison counters much, unless I know I'm going to win. And the best way to use Vraska is with a card. What was the name of it? Vorinclex. Monstrous Raider. Vorinclex, if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many. This also works with your -1/-1 counters. So anytime you put a -1/-1 counter on anything, you put twice that many. So each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. If an opponent would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or a player, they put half that many. So that halves their +1/+1 counters at all the time. So you don't have to worry about that much right there. But so now when we play Vraska, she'll enter with 12 counters on her. You can use that -9 right away and give someone 9 poison counters when she comes in. And then your next turn, you can just proliferate and kill that person. So far the deck is coming together. We do need to add more mana. How many cards do we have right now in the deck? We have 33 cards. We need about 34 to 36 lands. 33, 3 of those cards are lands already. What we do need is Rogue's Passage. Rogue's Passage helps anytime we want to attack with a creature. We can pay 4 mana, and target creature can't be blocked this turn. So that creature that you want to get through will not be blocked. Then, with all of the creatures that you're making, all of the tokens, you can take and make and put Phyrexian. What was the name of it? Phyrexian Tower. Put that in there, because what you can do is tap and sacrifice one of your insects, one of your elves, or one of your scorpion tokens, and may add 2 black mana to your mana pool. Then you add Maha, because Maha will help dramatically in this deck. This is a must. Now, every time I hear Maha, I think of the Amanda Show. If you're old enough to remember the Amanda Show, um, we have about 13 creatures in the deck. So 13 creatures. Your game changers, these right here are definitely really good helpers for your deck to function properly. And these are really good for like if you want to build a tournament style deck. So I would definitely put a demonic tutor, vampiric tutor, worldly tutor, and Jessica's will in the deck. That's just me. Those four cards are really good cards to add in the deck. That helps search for demonic tutor. Search your library for a card and put that card into your hand. So if you have a like, for instance, you have devoted druid in hand, and you want other um your other combo piece, you can use demonic tutor and search for quill spike. Or if you have both devoted druid and quill spike, and you don't have the final piece, uh, right of consumption to get rid of another player, you can search for that. So we'll search and put demonic tutor in. All of the tutors do something similar to that. So you got vampiric tutor. Vampiric tutor is similar, and it's an instant, so you can do it at the end of someone else's turn. Search your library for a card, shuffle it, and put it on the top of your library, and then lose 2 life. So that then right at the end of someone, like for instance, someone's playing their turn, and then they end, and it's your turn. Right before they end their turn, you play Vampiric Tutor, search your library for a card, put it on the top of your library, and then it's your turn to draw that card. Let's see. Then you have Worldly Tutor. Worldly Tutor searches for a creature, and it's also an instant, so you can put that creature on the top of your library. You can search for any one of these creatures here that help you win the game. Gaia's Cradle. I miss my Gaia's Cradle. I had one of these, and I had the this right here was the is the price that you'll normally pay for a Gaia's Cradle. I had a foil one, which was twice this, I think. Um, let's see, how much is a Gaia's Cradle foil running for? Um, yeah, I spelled it wrong. Gaia's Cradle. See the price of this card. This is damaged, by the way. $900 damaged. Heavily played. Printing. Let's see. All filters. Do they have the foil version? No, that wasn't it. Yes, this one. This is the one I had. See how much that is? Mine was stolen. And to this day, I am still angry about it. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I had to go on a rant for a minute there. All right. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put in -1/-1 counter on that creature. Whenever you put a one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. So that's good. That's another creature we can add to our 13 creatures. So Obelisk Spider. So that's 40 cards. We need to add lands. So let's go all the way down to lands. Go to utility lands first. All right. Move a counter from target permanent you control onto a second target permanent. Nesting Grounds is a really good card. So if you have a card that has a that is a that has a -1/-1 counter, and you want to get rid of a creature an opponent controls, you can do that with Nesting Ground. So let's go ahead and add Nesting Ground. Karn's Bastion, you can proliferate. Urborg and Yavimaya will help you mana fix your decks. So we'll go Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. That makes all your lands and all lands swamps in addition to their other types. So this right here can tap as a swamp if you want it to. This right here can tap as a black mana and add a black mana. This right here can add a black mana. So can this and this. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, will do the same, but for forest. So now all of your lands can tap for forest or swamps when both of those are out. Reliquary Tower gives you no maximum hand size, so your normal hand size is 7. You don't have a maximum hand size if you have Reliquary Tower. Shifting Woodland. I don't like things that say when they enter the battlefield tapped. This becomes a copy of target permanent card in your graveyard until end of turn. That's okay, but I don't really like the until end of turn effects. And this right here, unless you're bringing this back from the graveyard, it's not really worth it. All right, so we're good on now. Actually, we can add Karn's Bastion because that actually will help a lot. Let's Karn's Bastion. Um, let's see. Put a -1/-1 counter on target creature and opponent controls. Okay. Command Tower. That'll add a mana of your color palette that is in your commander. So Command Tower. Um, Let's see. Where are the older, the good ones? I like to get the good ones first before I add the other ones. All right. Bayou, Badlands, and Taiga. Now, if you're a proxy player or if you're a player that plays online, these are okay to add on. I add these because I play proxies. So they're really good lands. They're the best lands in the game. Bayou, Badlands, and Taiga. Okay. Then you have the second best lands in the game, in my opinion. Those are the filter lands. So you can either tap a black or green and fix the lands the way you want them. So you're essentially tapping two lands of any color to get a black, or two black, two green, or a black and a green. And you can do that with, there's a full set of these lands in different colors. Let's see, where are the other ones? Twilight Mire, um, Graven Carns. Graven Carns is the same thing, but with red and black. Um, it was green red. Wooded Foothills, I think it is. Wooded Foothills? No, that's not the one. What was the other one? Let's see. Let me do this real quick. Trying to remember the name of it. Firelit Thicket. That was it. Okay. Firelit Thicket. Now we have 17 lands. Now the second or the third best lands, in my opinion, are the Verge lands. So we'll search for the Verge lands. Those are similar to the filter lands. Where are they? Um, let's see. The Verge lands are not on here. That's shocking. Go ahead and do this again. Hold on. Hey Mimic, how are you? We're just building a deck right now. We'll defeat you in MTG. um, right now I'm just looking for the uh I'm still trying to figure out how to turn your picture into a 3D model. It's very hard. So I'm sorry it's taking forever. Yours and Fury Girls are very difficult to make at the moment. Now if hers was larger, I think I could get it done better, but her tail is the problem at the moment, and all of the supports underneath her hair are it's hard to break away from that support. So at the moment, I'm working on trying to get all that stuff figured out. Let's see, Thornspire Verge. Have you heard from her? Yeah, actually, we talk. Well, we send emojis through TikTok all the time. Blaze Meyer Verge. Um, so the red black, the red green, and the black green. I need the black green. So Wastewood Verge. Wastewood Verge. I just hadn't heard anything about it recently, so I wasn't sure if she got cold feet or no. She's. I haven't mentioned anything to her yet about it. If she was just talking to you about it, no. I haven't mentioned anything to her yet. I mentioned it a while ago, but it's very frustrating trying to do a 4-inch model with the supports. So what I'm going to do on my weekend is work on trying to get the supports, try to make more supports for me, and be able to try to do something like that to where I can add that support to her tail, because her tail is giving me so much trouble at the moment. Um, all right, the third best lands in my opinion are the Verge lands. These are you can tap like a black mana, and then if you have a mountain or swamp, you can tap for another color. So now you have 19 lands. So we'll go to the fourth best lands in my opinion. Those are the champion lands. Those are things like where are those luxury suite. So if you have two or more opponents, you can this enters untapped. So luxury suite, undergrowth stadium. Why am I saying suite like that? No, it's spelled like that. There we go. Undergrowth stadium. And where's the other one? The red green one. Where are your problems with the one I requested? Just getting it from picture to model. Yeah, the 3D programs that they keep flattening your model, um, and it kind of turning into more of like Han Solo's where he was frozen in the plate, and it doesn't look good. So I'm trying to figure out how to fix that. Um, yeah, it's it's not the way. Oh, Rhonda, thanks for the bear and the rose. I appreciate that, and all the likes. Let's see. I'm missing one other of the what I call champion lands. Those are the ones that state that they enter untapped if you have two or more opponents. So I'm trying to. Oh, there it is. Spire Garden. So Spire Garden. So now we're at 22 lands. So now we've got the four best lands in the game. We have the OG lands. We've got the Verge lands, which are the third best lands. The filter lands, which are the second best lands in the game. Those are the mana fixers right there. It's giving my model the carbonite bath treat. Yes, the carbonite bath treatment. Um, and then the fourth best lands are the champion lands, is what I like to call them. Let's see. So now that we have those, we can search for other lands that we can add. Let's see. Um, unless I have a landfall deck, I never use these lands. These lands here are kind of useless to me. Let's see. And I don't get any lands that whenever they enter the battlefield, they enter tapped. I don't ever use these. These are very, very niche style lands. Now, if they enter the battlefield tapped, unless you have two or more other lands, they're okay. I still don't like those because what if you get those at the beginning of the game? I like to use the ones that say, is this no? This is a architect. Well, I'm looking at EDH Rec right now for building a deck, uh, online for paper and for online. Right now we're building Reaper, the Reaper King No More, which is a -1/-1 counter deck, and we have 57 cards in the deck so far, 22 lands. We need 33 lands right now. So we're looking for other lands to add in the deck. Um, you got the Rockvale land, Rockfall Vale. Whenever it enters, it'll enter tapped unless you have two or more lands. Those are good, like I said, but you could do better. The ones that deal damage to you for tapping one or more, they're okay. Um, if you have Yavimaya, Cradle of Cradle of Growth out, it won't matter anyway. And if you have Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth out, it won't really matter. So eventually these won't really do much damage to you. Same with this one and the other one that's red green. So you can add these in, but I would rather look for other lands first before we add those as a last resort. Let's see. So we have the four best lands in the game for these colors, the four best land types. Um, let's see. Hmm. Enters tapped unless you control two or more basics. This is okay again, but we can do better. Uh, this one right here, Rootbound Crag. These are better. They enter tapped unless you control a mountain or a forest. Same with the Dragon Skull Summit. Enters tapped unless you control a swamp or a mountain. These you can add. I think we're going to a break soon, an ad break. So Dragon Skull Summit and Rootbound Crag we can add here. Uh, Dragon Skull Summit, Rootbound Crag. And I believe there's, let's see, you've got the red green, you've got the red black. Now, where's the green black one? Um, oh, yeah, Woodland Cemetery. So you can add that one there. Now you're at 25 lands. All right, so now we have a good feel of what those lands are. Exotic Orchard, add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Then I wouldn't use this land because you're. Hey Phoenix, how are you? Kate, let me give you a shout out. Yo, give everyone a shout out. You're back. All right. Yeah, right now we're building a deck in Magic. We are pretty much halfway done actually, so we've got quite a bit of progress that we're doing. Um, and we're building it as a -1/-1 counter deck. Um, so we'll go here. Our commander is the Reaper, King No More. A Scarecrow commander. Whenever it enters, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature of up to 2 target creatures you control. Whenever a creature an opponent controls with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, you may put that card onto the battlefield under control and do this at once each turn. So we're working on trying to put -1/-1 counters on creatures that your opponents control. Um, Now we have 60 cards. We need to make sure that we have um, about we need about 7 to 9 more lands right now. So we'll go back to the lands and see about uh, these lands right here. Um, we could use Bajuka Bog, even though it enters tapped. When it enters, exile target player's graveyard. So if someone plays a graveyard love deck, like anyone who uses their graveyard, you can just hate them out of the game, which is funny. So we can add Bajuka Bog. So there you go, 26 right there. Then we'll add. That would be good against black decks. Yes, black and green decks. So we'll go about. What is our average in land or in colors right now? Um, let's see. Are we able to check the? I think we have more black cards in the deck, so we'll go to swamps and add 5 swamps. Add about 3 mountains, mostly black splashed with green and red. Yes, so we'll add about 3 mountains and 3 forests. So now we have 34 lands in the deck. I like to start with 34 because 34 is a good number for your deck. Most decks are good about 34 lands. Um, and it's glitching out right here. So, um, now with this in mind, now that we have 69 cards, we need to focus on trying to add cards that destroy creatures. Yes, nice. So we'll add things like Toxic Deluge. Toxic Deluge is a good board wipe card. That states, where is it? As an additional cost to cast the spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn. So you pay 3, and then you can pay like five life, and all creatures on board get -5. Um, then we need to add things like Walk the Plank. I think it's called Walk the Plank. Destroys a non-Merfolk creature. Most people don't play Merfolk decks. If you play a Merfolk deck, which is blue-green, you're a bad person. Then let's see. What was another good kill spell? All right, we got Dreadbore, we got Assassin's Trophy, Beast Within. Beast Within is a really good card that destroys most permanents. So it'll destroy a permanent. It'll give your opponent a 3/3 creature, but I would rather have a 3/3 creature on their side of the field than maybe like an enchantment that is killing me, or something that I can get rid of easily for them or against them. Um, let's see. We'll need Ashnod's Altar because we're going to be making a lot of tokens. So making a lot of tokens will give us sacrifice outlets. So Ashnod's Altar, we can sacrifice a creature that we're making all the tokens to get more mana. So when we get more mana, we can start paying into making a lot more stuff. Let's see. There's another in a couple instance that we need. Victim of Night. Victim of Night's another good kill spell. Destroys target non-vampire, non-werewolf, and non-zombie. Not a lot of people play tribal very much. When you do come across that, you have other options like Terminate, Beast Within, Assassin's Trophy, stuff like that that can get around that. Dreadbore, which destroys target creature or planeswalker. Trying to think of more cards that we can add. So we can go to EDH Rec and start looking through these right here to find any more stuff. So we'll go to instance because I want to see about more instance. Aha! Destroy target non-land permanent and proliferate. Atomize is a really, really good card, and Putrefy. Destroy target artifact and creature. So now we have our ways of getting around creatures and stuff like that. So now we don't have to worry about their creatures. And Putrefy. So now we have 76 cards. Heroic Intervention is really good to help save you from things, making all your cards have hexproof, which they can't be targeted by anyone, or and have indestructible, so they can't be destroyed. So we'll add Heroic Intervention. I can't spell today. Heroic Intervention's a good card to add in here. Sudden Spoiling is the sleeper, I think. I love Sudden Spoiling. It's another really good card in a deck where you're putting -1/-1 counters on creatures. So when you're doing that, especially when you're doing things like Maha, where all your opponents control creatures your opponents control have base toughness 1. Plus, it has split second. Yes, split second goes on the stack first. So then you also have things that will really work with those cards, like Scorpion God, putting a neg 1 counter on something. Necroskitter, well, no, not Necroskitter. Let's see, where's another good one? Hey, Senna. Let's see. Had to go on a grocery run. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Still working on the deck right now. Let's see. Where's another good one? Uh, a good combo that I like to do is Vorinclex. That because that doubles the tokens that are put on anything. Whenever you put something a token on or a counter on something, it doubles the counter. So, and that's any kind of counter you do. Oh, hydrate. All right, and stretch. Okay, hydrate. All right. There we go. So with Vorinclex out, you can play Vraska. Whenever Vraska comes out, it'll come in with 12 counters on it. So then you can immediately pop that 9 and give someone immediately 9 counters, 9 poison counters. So you can already almost kill someone because poison counters, if you have 10 poison counters, you lose the game immediately. Oh, sudden spoiling. I forgot to add that. If they get 10 poison counters, they lose. Yes. Yeah. And then also, when you're putting counters on someone because of Vorinclex, if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many on each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player. So they're getting 18 counters. So that's an instant kill right there. Let's see, what else can we add? Um, a good old lightning bolt. um, Withering Torment is a good one that destroys a creature or enchantment. But we can do better. Since we're in green, we're able to destroy enchantments a lot easier instead without losing life. Um, Lightning Bolt is the red spell. Yeah. Um, let's see. Entomb is really good. What you could do with Entomb at the beginning of the game, if you play a Dark Ritual, you can search your library, like play a Dark Ritual, play Entomb, search your library for Vorinclex, put it into your graveyard, and then play. Um, so let's see, go Entomb, Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual, you pay 1 black mana, and then it'll give you 3 black mana for that. So now what you do is reanimate. This happens rarely, but it does happen, and I love doing this. Reanimate costs 1 black mana. So then you can search your library for Vorinclex and put Vorinclex in your graveyard and then reanimate it and put Vorinclex on the field at the beginning of the game. You'll lose life equal to its mana value, so you'll start the game -6 life. But you'll start the game with a 6/6 trample with haste. And you can swing with a 6/6 at the beginning of the game. Or if you want to start out being a menace, you could do things like where's a good one? Let's see. Midnight Banshee. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on each non-black creature. So your opponents, if they're not playing black at the beginning of your upkeep, and they normally play like a 1/1 at the beginning of the game, their 1/1's gonna die because normally they play mana dorks. So we're kind of being a menace right now. Let's see. Deadly Rollick is a good one that exiles a creature. So, and if you have your commander out, it's free. You don't have to pay 4 mana. So, how many cards do we have? 81 cards. We have enough room. All right. So now that we've got that, we are the utility artifacts. There aren't that many utility artifacts that would be good. We can put Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves in there because that will protect our commander, which is a good idea. Oops. That gives our commander hexproof and haste, and then Lightning Greaves will give us our Lightning Greaves will give our commander Shroud and haste, and it's free to equip. Yeah, Hasbro bundled a Lightning Bolt MTG card, so with some Nerf or nothing Lightning Bolt gun as a unconventional crossover. Really interesting. And how are you, Robo? Let's see. That's hilarious, smart and funny. um. Oh yeah, we do need stuff like Kodama's Reach. That way we can search for more lands if we don't start there. If we don't have enough lands on board, Kodama's Reach, Cultivate, Rampant Growth. Those are really good ways to search your library for basic lands to put them onto the battlefield. So we've got 87 cards in the deck. What else? What else? What else? Um, oh, let's go to enchantments real quick because I skipped over enchantments. We could really be mean and put the animate dead combo with World Gorger Dragon and Sun Scorched Desert and do infinite damage, no, one damage to everyone. But that's not really, that doesn't work in this deck, so I really don't want to do it. Um, Nowhere to Run is good. There's Nowhere to Run. Let's see. Nowhere to Run. When Nowhere to Run enters, creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3. Creatures your opponents control can be targeted spells and abilities as though they didn't have hexproof. Ward abilities of those creatures don't trigger. It's okay. We don't necessarily, at least in my playthrough, I don't really have that much use for this card, but it is good in certain instances. Now, Black Market Connection, getting a treasure token, that works because that'll give you mana sources. And Phyrexian Arena, that will work because that gives you a draw engine. Also, All Will Be One, we're putting counters on creatures, so we're going to be dealing damage to target opponent by every time we put a counter on something. I like it basically bypasses, oh, you thought you had a defense. Yeah, it does. But like in my case, we don't really have that much trouble in our playthroughs around my area. But I will add All Will Be One, Phyrexian Arena, and Black Market Connection. So now we have 90 cards. We've got 10 slots left, so we can add other things in here. Let's see. Another good sack outlet that we can do is Goblin Bombardment and dealing 1 damage to any target. Or since we're making tokens, a lot of tokens, we can go and do Impact Tremors. So Impact Tremors states whenever a creature you control enters, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each opponent. So you could do Impact Tremors, and then there's another combo that I really like doing with where is he? Murderous Redcap. When he enters, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player, and he's got Persist. So when when you sacrifice him, he comes back with a -1/-1 counter on him. Now, if you have Vorinclex out, it won't work because he'll have 2 -1/-1 counters on him. But there is a combo. Let's see. That works with him really well. EDH rec. That I like to do. Where is it? Also, if you're new to building decks, you can use EDH Rec, or if you're even unsure about what to put in a deck, use EDH Rec. I love this website. It works really well. Um, and it helps me build decks and um, stuff when I need it. Where is that combo? Thank you for doing that, Dreamers. Let's see. I think um yeah, yeah, and Grumgully. Each other non-human creature you control enters with the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. So you can use a sack outlet, maybe like Ashnod's Altar, to get 2 colorless mana. Sacrifice him. He comes back with an additional 1/1 counter, which counteracts the persist. So he'll be a 2/2 every time you sacrifice him. So with that being said, having impact tremors, you'll be infinitely dealing 1 damage to each opponent. Same with Rhythm of the Wild. Adds in 2 minutes. Thank you. Non-token creatures you control have Riot. They enter the battlefield with your choice of a +1/+1 counter on it or haste. So Rhythm of the Wild also works with Murderous Redcap. And also, because they're entering with counters on them, this will work with Vorinclex. So they'll double the counters that they enter in with. Now we're at 94 cards. Um, let's see. Okay, we could go back to um, checking the instants and sorceries to make sure that we're not missing anything. At the beginning of your upkeep, destroy a target creature with a -1/-1 counter on it. So if your opponents have -1/-1 counters on them, you can choose one creature like that's really scary that has a -1/-1 counter on it, and just tell it to go by. Crumbling Ashes. At the beginning of your end step, if you're the Monarch, which I don't like Monarch cards because it makes you the target. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent life or each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Let's see. Beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you may draw a card. That's okay. Whenever a counter is put on a creature you control, draw a card. No, I don't like the once only it triggers once each turn. Um, so we'll go to the instance. See about the instance. All right, ads. Taking a quick break. We've got 95 cards in this deck. Hmm. Now, do I want to go and protect myself a little bit more? Or do I want to go full in on the -1/-1 counters? Um, hmm. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. I say protection. Okay. So protection, a good protection that not many people use, which I really like doing because it's funny, is redirection. Um, instant spells that redirect spells of other that target you, like deflecting swat. Choose a new target for target spell. So if someone tries to counter a spell that you use, you can play deflecting swat and redirect that counter to their counter spell. So you're basically countering their counter spell. So you could put deflecting swat, bolt bend, um, unless I counter your counter with a counter because I knew you'd counter. um, let's see. As an additional cost to cast the spell, pay 5 life or pay 2. So it'd be 3 mana to pay this one. Change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. So redirect lightning is another good one. Now we're at 98 cards. We have 2 more slots. Um, there are 2 other ones. I'm trying to remember the name. Let's see. What damage to our creature? Okay. Uh, I think it is. Um, what was it? Oh no! What were they? Hang on. Uh, click on that one real quick. Let me see what the other ones were that were similar to it. Oh, also, we can put this in here. This spell can't be countered. Spells you control can't be countered. Other creatures you control have ward, pay 2. This is really good in your deck, so I would definitely put Hexing Squelcher in here. So let's see. That help that's a good protection. Um, so now we're at 99 cards. Um, where is that? Let's see. We'll go instants. Um, Bolt Bend. Flame. Torment of Hailfire. That's a really good one to put in here. Torment of Hailfire states that repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non land permanent or discards a card. So you could pay X mana into this and do this uh, however many times you've paid mana into. So now we have built a complete red, black, and green deck specifically to put neg 1 counters on stuff and win the game that way. And also win the game in other ways as well. So our win cons are basically Bolus's Citadel with an Aetherflux Reservoir and a Sensei's Divining Top. So you gain a lot of life and then make someone lose the game by paying 50 life into it. You could Grumgully with Murderous Redcap and Impact Tremors by making Murderous Redcap come into play infinite amount of times, dealing damage to your opponents. With Painful Quandary, anytime a player casts a spell, they lose 5 life. Wound Reflection, at the beginning of the end step, they lose life equal to the life lost this turn. So what you do with Wound Reflection, you'll have that mixed with where's that card? I just saw it. Oh, Bolus's Citadel. So with all your tokens, you can sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. You can make them lose 20 life instead. So you can put them down to 20 instead of keeping them at 40. With Vorinclex, you can make, and Vraska, you can make someone lose by putting 18 poison counters on them. You also have Devoted Druid with the infinite combo of putting Devoted Druid and Quill Spike, making that Quill Spike go up to an infinite amount of power and toughness, and then attack, and then use Rite of Consumption by sacrificing it, gaining that much life that its power is, and then killing someone else by doing that. So you've got that with High Perfect Morcant and Flourishing Defenses. You're infinitely putting -1/-1 counters on your opponent's creatures and making elf tokens. So those elf tokens you can use use and sacrifice tokens for something with. So now you have so many options of winning the game. All will be won every time you put a counter on something. Target player loses gets a damage dealt to them. So yeah, you have so many options to win the game with this deck. And you also have protection and destruction by using other things in your arsenal for instants and sorceries. Um, so yeah, I had fun. I want to do this again next Monday. If you guys are interested, we could build a deck. I'll let next Monday someone else choose a commander, and we'll build a deck around that commander. And we can work on that, have some fun with that one, and see what we can do there. Okay, so go ahead and do that here. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. Um, I haven't. I did that's good. Um, Now I can actually use that deck against someone and see how well. Yeah, and I hope you learned a little bit, Cinna, on how to build a deck, and where to go to help you build a deck. That way you can start learning if you want to start working on Magic as well. Because I also built did this mainly for people who are interested in getting into playing Magic um, more. Um, so I want to do this more often to help people build decks and look for fun ways to interact with other people and interact with like what to look for to add in their decks. Let's see. So, for those of you who are new, I hope you all had fun. Um, I will be taking a break tomorrow and Wednesday, so I'll be back Thursday at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Um, we'll be playing Star Ocean First Departure R. Uh, so if you're interested in watching that, definitely check that out. Definitely check out my link tree. I've got all my links in there for everything. If you're interested, my long form content is in YouTube. My short form content's on TikTok. Um, I post daily, letting everyone know what I'm doing, when I'm going live. Excuse me. And all of that. So if you're interested in checking out my X, Instagram, and all that, I should either today or tomorrow. I'll be posting my weekly schedule, letting everyone know exactly what I'm going to be doing then. If you want anyone who wants to check out a commander, and we'll work on a commander Monday of your choice. Um, And if you want, we can do a poll of the commander, and we'll start doing like a list of commanders in Discord, um, and do a poll of which one we could do every Monday. Um, and we can do like a Commander Monday and build a deck on there. So, um, all right, let's go ahead and find a raid partner. I haven't raided Maximum Midnight in a while, so I want to raid him. He's playing World of Warcraft at the moment, so let's go ahead and check him out. Let's see. Raid him. There's so many people I want to raid right now. It. I feel I wish I could raid multiple people at once because they're um there's so many. But I've got oh my god, I haven't seen AO on here in a while. So actually, this is a rare occasion. Let's raid AO, and I'm gonna hop into Midnight stream a little later and say hey to him as well. But this is a rare occasion. He's playing Valheim. I want to raid AO. You all have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, and night. I'll see you all Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I hope you all stay safe out there. Let's see. And yeah, we'll see you all later.